Good morning, student. Welcome to the fifth lecture of unit number 4. In the last lecture, we have discussed about the types of digital evidences and characteristics of digital evidence. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the various challenges in digital evidence handling. So, basically, there are three challenges in digital evidence handling. First one is authentication. Second one is chain of custody. Third one is evidence validation. So let's start with the authentication. So what is meant by authentication? The process of determining whether evidence is worthy or not is called authentication of digital evidence. So basically authentication means satisfying the code that the contents of the record have remained unchanged. It means that satisfying the code that the contents of the record or the contents of the digital evidence have remained unchanged. It means that we have ensured the integrity of that digital evidence. That means throughout the examination or investigation process, we have maintained the integrity of particular digital evidence. Then second meaning is that information in the record does in fact originate from its purported source, whether human or machine. It means that if you want to investigate the mobile device of a particular offender, then that digital evidence must be originate from mobile device of that person only and not other persons. That means your information in the record must originate from its purported source, then whether it human or machine. And we know that basically there are three sources of digital evidence. First one is internet, second one is mobile device, and third one is computer. Now another meaning of authentication is that extraneous information such as apparent date of the record is accurate. It means that the date in your record must be accurate. And as with paper records, the necessary degree of authentication may be proved through oral and circumstantial evidences, if available, or via technological features in the system or the record. Technological features in the system or the record, it means that your timestamps. Your timestamp also shows the date and time of the particular event, and accurate date and time they show. Then authentication is actually a two-step process with an initial examination of the evidence to determine that it is what its proponent claims, and later a closer analysis to determine its probative value. So in the initial stage, it may be sufficient for an individual who is familiar with the digital evidence to testify to its authenticity. And for instance, the individual who collected the evidence can confirm that evidence presented in the court is the same as when it was collected. So the individuals who collected the evidence, it means that the examiners or investigators who collected the evidence can confirm that evidence that have to be presented in the court is the same as when it was collected. That means again the integrity of digital evidence. It means that the contents of the record must have remained unchanged while submitting it to the court. And alternatively, a system administrator can testify that log files presented in courts originated from her or his system. It means that again the information in the record does in fact originate from its purported source, whether it is human or machine. In some cases, the defense will cast doubt on more malleable forms of digital evidence, such as logs of online chat sessions. So this is about the authentication, which is the challenge in digital evidence handling. It is also called as reliability of digital evidence also. So authentication is always come up with the reliability of digital evidence. Then Another challenge in digital evidence handling is chain of custody. Now, chain of custody refers to the logical sequence that records the sequence of custody, that records the sequence of control, transfer, analysis, and disposition of physical or electronic evidence in legal cases. As we have seen chain of custody in the unit number 3, that is in the digital evidence, digital forensic investigation. Chain of custody refers to the logical sequence that records the sequence of custody, control, transfer, analysis, and disposition of physical or electronic evidence in legal cases. Now, each step in the chain of custody is essential, as if broke, the evidence may be rendered inadmissible. It means that if one of the steps in the chain of custody is broke or is skipped, your evidence may be inadmissible in the court. And to get your evidence must be admissible in the court, you have to follow all the steps in the chain of custody. Thus, we can say that preserving the chain of custody is about following the correct and consistent procedure and hence ensuring the quality of evidence. So, in the chain of custody, we have to discuss 6 main points. That is, what chain of custody entails in digital forensic. Second, importance of maintaining chain of custody. Third one, chain of custody process, chain of custody form, procedure to establish the chain of custody, and how chain of custody can be assured. So let's discuss it one by one. First one is the chain. What chain of custody entails in digital forensic? So if you are in the field of cyber security, you will be at one point in your career will be involved in digital forensic. So one of the concepts that is the most essential in digital forensic is the chain of custody. So the chain of custody in digital cyber forensic is also known as paper trail or forensic link or chronological documentation of the evidence, because chain of custody is the steps that we have to follow during the investigation or examination of digital evidence. So chain of custody indicates the collection, sequence of control, transfer, and analysis. It also documents details of each person who handled the evidence, date, and time it was collected or transferred and the purpose of the transfer. And it also demonstrates trust to the courts and to the clients that evidence has not tampered. So digital evidence is acquired from the myriad of the devices like a vast number of Internet of Things, that is IoT devices, audio evidence, video recordings, images, and other data stored on hard drives, flash drives, and other physical media. Then the second important thing that we have to discuss in chain of custody is that importance of maintaining chain of custody. So what is the importance of maintaining chain of custody? First, we'll talk about importance to examiner. So to preserve the integrity of the integrity of the evidence is one of the important thing. Then to prevent the evidence from contamination, which can alter the state of the evidence. So in case you obtain metadata for a piece of evidence, but unable to extract any meaningful information from that metadata, in such case, the chain of custody helps to show that where possible evidence might lie, where it came from, who created it, and the type of equipment used. Because in our report writing, we have to mention that where the evidence, digital evidence came from, who have created that evidence, and the type of equipment used for the analysis and collection of that digital evidence. Then importance to the court. If digital evidence is not preserved, the evidence submitted in the court might be challenged and ruled inadmissible. It means that if your digital evidences are contaminated, if your digital evidences have some contents which are altered, that time your digital evidence might be inadmissible in the court. Then next important thing that we have to discuss about digital evidence is that the chain of custody process. So in order to preserve digital evidence, the chain of custody should span from the first step of data collection to examination, analysis, reporting, and the time of presentation to the courts. So this is very important to avoid the possibility of any suggestion that evidence has been compromised in any way. So all the points are related to the maintaining integrity of the digital evidence, preserving the digital evidence. So this chain of custody process, we will see this chain of custody process in detail. So these are the steps in chain of custody process. First one is data collection, examination, analysis, and reporting. So let's discuss each stage of the chain of custody in detail. So first one is data collection. Data collection means this is where chain of custody process is initiated. So it involves identification, labeling, recording, and the acquisition of data from all possible relevant sources. That means it involves identification, labeling, recording, and acquisition of data from your mobile device, from your computer system, or from the internet, or we can say that from the network, that preserve the integrity of the data and evidence collected. Then second thing is examination. Now during this process, chain of custody information is documented, outlining the forensic process undertaken. It is important to capture screenshots throughout the process to show the tasks that are completed and evidence uncovered. That means the examination, documentation comes under the examination. Then third step of chain of custody process is analysis. This stage is the result of the examination stage. So in the analysis stage, legally justifiable methods and techniques are used to derive useful information to address questions posed in the particular case. It means that during analysis, investigators and examiners, they have to use the latest technology, the latest techniques and tools to analyze the data and to derive useful information from this data to address questions posed in the particular case. Or then after that, we have another step, that is reporting. So reporting is the documentation phase of the examination and analysis stage. So reporting includes statements regarding chain of custody, explanation of the various tools used, which are the latest technology, which are the latest tools that are used to analyze the data, that are used to uncover the data. Examiners and investigators have to explain about these tools in the reporting phase. A description of the analysis of various data sources, they have to describe in a brief the analysis of various data sources, issues identified, what are the issues they have identified in the particular digital evidences, they have to write related to these issues in the report. Then vulnerabilities identified during investigation, they have to also mention the vulnerabilities. Then recommendation for additional forensic measures that can be taken. Now these all things have to mention in the report phase. Then the next thing we have to discuss is that the chain of custody form. So in order to prove a chain of custody, you will need a form that lists out the details of how the evidence was handled every step of the way. So the form should answer the following questions. So the first question is that what is the evidence? For example, digital information includes file name, MD5 hash, that means digital signature algorithm, and hardware information includes serial numbers, asset ID, host name, photos, description, and so on. So these all are the examples of evidence. What is the evidence? These all evidences are the answer to this question. Then how did you get it? For example, backed, tagged, or pulled from the desktop. So how did you get this digital evidences? Is answer to this question. Then when it was collected, that means what is the date and time while collecting the evidences. Then who has handled it? Examiners or investigators particularly handle the digital evidence. Then why did that person handle it? Then where was it stored? So the answer to this question is that this includes the information about physical location in which proof is stored or information of the storage used to store the forensic image. Then next question is how you transported it. For example, in a sealed static free bag or in a secure storage container. So how you transport that digital evidences is answer to this question. Then how it was tracked. Then how it was tracked means how they find a particular criminal, how they find the location of the device, how they find the recording of a particular device. This is the answer to that question. Then how it was stored. For example, it is stored in a secure storage container. Then who has access to the evidence? So this involves developing a check-in or check-out process. So the COC form, that is chain of custody form, must be kept up to date. This means every time the best evidence is handled off, the chain of custody forms need to be updated. Then next question is that procedure to establish the chain of custody. So in order to assure the authenticity of the chain of custody, a series of steps must be followed. Because if we have not followed the series of steps given in chain of custody, our digital evidence might be inadmissible in court. So it is important to note that more information forensic expert obtains concerning the evidence, the more authentic is the created chain of custody. So you should ensure that the following procedure is followed according to the chain of custody for electronic devices. For example, save the original material, because as we know that investigator cannot investigate the original proof of document, they have to make copy of that document, and that's why they have to save the original material. Then take photos of the physical evidence in the examination phase. Here we have discussed that during examination they have to take screenshots of each and everything. Then take screenshots of the digital evidence, document date, time, and any other information on the receipt of the evidence. We have to mention the date and time, the collection of evidence. Inject a bit for bit clone for clone of digital evidence content into forensic computer, and then perform a hash test analysis to authenticate the working clone. And the last question that we have to discuss is that how chain of custody can be assured. So a couple of considerations are involved when dealing with digital evidence and chain of custody. So let's discuss it is point wise. First point is that never ever work with the original evidence. This is the primary rule. Since we have discussed it from the third unit, that is digital forensic investigation, never ever work with the original evidence. We have to make a copy of original evidence. We can't perform examination or investigation on the original evidence. So the biggest consideration that needs to be taken care of while dealing with digital evidence is that the forensic experts has to make full copy of the evidence for forensic analysis, and this cannot be overlooked as when errors are made to working copies or comparisons need to be done, then in that case we need an original copy. Second point is that ensuring storage media is sterilized. So it is important to ensure that examiner storage device is forensically clean when acquiring the evidence. Suppose if the examiner storage media is infected with malware, in that case, malware can escape into the machine being examined, and all of the evidence will eventually get compromised. Third point is that document any extra scope. It means that during the process of examination, it is important to document all such information that is beyond the scope of current legal authority and later brought to the attention of the case agent. So a comprehensive report must contain following sections like identity of the reporting agency, case identifier, case investigator, identity of the submitter, that means who is going to submit the digital evidence to the court, date of receipt, the date of collecting evidence, date of report, descriptive list of items submitted for examination. This includes the serial number, make and model, identity and signature of the examiner, brief description of steps taken during the examination. For example, string searches, graphic image searches, and recovering erased files. And last one is the result. After that, consider the safety of the personnel at the scene. So it is very important to ensure that the crime scene is fully secure before and during the search. And in some cases, the examiner may only be able to do the following while on site. That means identify the number and type of computers, interview the system administrator and users, identify and document the types and volumes of media. This includes removable media also. Determine if a network is present. Document the information about the location from which the media was removed. Identify off-site storage areas and or remote computing locations. Identify proprietary softwares and determine the operating system in questions. So the digital evidence and digital chain of custody are the backbones of any action taken by digital forensic specialist. So up to this, we have discussed two challenges of the digital evidence handling. First one is authentication and second one is chain of custody. After that, the third challenge in digital evidence handling is evidence validation. Now what is meant by validation? Validation is a term that has been used to describe various processes inherent in good scientific research and analysis. Validation is the analytical context refer to the process of establishing through documented experimentation that a scientific method or techniques is fit for its intended purpose. So this is about the validation. And the last topic of this unit is that what is volatile evidence. So two basic types of data are collected in computer forensic. Persistent data is that data that is stored on a local hard drive or another media and is preserved when the computer is turned off. And volatile data is any data that is stored in computer memory or exists in transit and that will be lost when computer loses its power or is turned off. So volatile data resides in registries, cache memory, and random access memory. So the investigation of this volatile data is called live forensic. So the investigation of volatile evidences is called as live forensic investigation. So it is essential to the forensic investigation that immediate state of computer is recorded before shutting it down. So volatile information is lost once the suspect's computer is powered down, and this may be crucial to the claim. Even if this volatile information is not crucial, it may well lead an investigator in the early stages and lay the foundation for the analysis. So when collecting data for a computer forensic investigation, you want to collect the most volatile data first and it will be lost the quickest. So to avoid losing the volatile storage on a mobile devices, keep this continuously charged to avoid losing volatile memory. A computer system will lose volatile memory when this is powered down. So the only way to safeguard this evidence is to leave the system powered up until forensic experts can salvage this memory. And sometimes cache, which will contain webmail, for example, Hotmail, as opposed to email clients such as Outlook, MSN, MSN chat, etc., can be recovered for a forensic examination after the browser is shut down. But there is only a small window of opportunity, and it is by no means guaranteed that this is recoverable, and it will more often than not depend on the setting. So in this particular unit, we had discussed about what is digital evidence, what are the rules related to digital evidence, what are the characteristics of digital evidence. Then in today's lecture, we have discussed about the challenges in digital evidence, and after that, what is digital evidence, which is also known as live forensic.